Hello everybody, Matt Bull, MD of Action Coach in Loughborough, here with another episode of Business Spotlight. And I'm delighted today to be joined by Mariam from Datalink Electronics in Loughborough. How are you today, Mariam?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good indeed, very good indeed. So before we get started, could you just give everyone a quick overview of what you do and how long you've been in the role for?
Of course. So I'm the Managing Director at Datalink Electronics Limited. We are contract electronic design and manufacturers based in the East Midlands in Loughborough. I've actually only been in this role since January this year. However, prior to this, I was the finance director of the company. I've worked for the business for about 13 years. I first joined the company as the finance assistant and then worked my way up to become the finance manager, then finance director, and I'm now the managing director.
Wow, what an amazing journey. What an amazing journey. Well done. The question I ask everybody at the start is, success looks like different things to different people. When you hear the word success, what person jumps out as you as somebody who you see as successful?
I guess it would have to be Flo Wood, my predecessor. She was a very successful businesswoman. She ran the company and took it from strength to strength over the last 25 years. I guess I've always aspired to be a bit more like her and to follow on in her footsteps.
Brilliant, brilliant. So I noticed from your background, you've got an MBA, and like myself, you've obviously qualified as an accountant and gone through that journey. How important has education been to the success you've achieved today?
I'd say extremely important. I don't think I would be where I am today without the education that I've had. I was very lucky. Datalink have always been big investors in people and big supporters of furthering your education. They actually paid for me to study CIMA and to become a chartered management accountant. And they also supported me through my MBA at Loughborough University as well.
Amazing. So we know that education is a key part for a lot of people in success. But the reality of the role is often what teaches us our biggest lessons. And I know you've only been in the role a short amount of time, but what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned so far, since becoming managing director?
I guess it's to probably surround yourself with a good management team and a group of people that you trust, because you definitely can't do it alone. And you need a team of people with the same values and ambitions and the same goal for the business as you. Again, I am extremely lucky to have a great management team at Datalink. They're very motivated and they have the same aspirations for the business as I do. So I guess this makes the journey a little bit easier.
Great. And what are the aspirations that you've kind of got for the business in the next 5 years? You know, it's an interesting time for a lot of business owners at the moment, but you've been in the role a couple of months now, been in the business a while. Where do you see the business going in the next five years or so?
My aspirations for the business are continued growth. So we're currently very heavily focused on the medical sector, with approximately 50% of our turnover in medical devices and about 25% in oil and gas. So my plan for the next 5 years is to diversify further into different markets like rail, ADS, and renewable energy. I'm also looking into more automation for the business to improve our efficiency, product quality, and throughput, as well as becoming more cost effective. So we've recently invested £800,000 in a new surface mount line. This has absolutely revolutionized our production in terms of new technology and more capacity. So my plan for the future is just to continue with more automation and more investment.
Amazing, amazing. And how do you see yourself growing as a leader over that time? You know, we know that the business can't outgrow the leader, so continual growth for any leader is really important. How do you see yourself having to grow over the next 5 years to enable that business growth to happen?
I guess continue to work with my team, to continue to work on also my education and my learning, because you can never know too much. So knowing more about the industry, knowing more about the market. And I guess my biggest goal for this year is to basically focus on the employees. They are our biggest assets, and we need to make sure that they are happy, engaged, and kept motivated. And that's the only way we'd be able to retain them, especially during these times. So I think that'd probably be my biggest focus this year.
Nice. And so that leads me nicely on to my next question, which is, it's a lot of uncertainty around for a lot of businesses at the moment, and we know that retaining people and often attracting people is a challenge for a lot of businesses at the moment.
Yeah.
What do you see as the sort of the potential obstacles to you achieving the business growth over the, maybe even the next 12 months, let alone 5 years?
I think it would have to be sort of unknown factors that are beyond our control. So like potential recession, market volatility, all of the continued basically supply chain issues that we've been seeing, as well as the difficulties we're seeing in recruitment of staff. So it's really, really difficult to plan for the unknown. And I think that'd probably be the biggest obstacle to any kind of sort of growth for the business.
Yeah, so I suppose that ability to respond to what you're seeing as you go along is something that's going to be pretty important for you.
Yes, of course.
So, I mean, on that labour, the labour point and the attraction and retention of staff, what are you seeing, I suppose, in and around Loughborough and within your sector at the moment in respect of the workforce?
I think recently we've been finding the recruitment process more and more difficult. There just doesn't seem to be the same number of people looking for jobs as it was about 2 years ago. And we're also finding it quite difficult to find the right caliber of staff at the moment. Right. And I'm not sure why that is, but it seems to be across sort of our entire industry, whether we're looking for shop floor staff or whether we're looking for engineers or for management team. It's just more difficult at the moment.
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen a pivot, I suppose, of the brand of the business is important from a sales and marketing perspective, but from an employer perspective as well, that brand has become more important than ever. So it's certainly a lot of other business owners are saying exactly the same at the moment.
Yes, I've spoken to a lot of other business owners, and they all seem to be in the same boat as we are.
So an amazing journey you've been on since you started off. I think was it Vision Express? I think was the first role.
Yes.
So when you look back at the journey you've been on, what advice would you give yourself at the start of the journey? If you were to look back at your sort of 18-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself?
I think it's to basically just study and study and study. So I didn't start studying until I was about 22, 23, when I began my employment with Datalink. And I do wish I had started sooner. At least I wouldn't be studying way into my 30s if I had, that's for sure. That's always the advice that I give my younger brother, is just to focus on your education, because then, it'll open a lot more doors for you, for sure.
Brilliant. And for anybody out there at the moment who's either thinking about being in business or is finding business a little bit challenging, because for a lot of business owners it is at the moment, what advice would you give to those owners who are finding things tough at the moment?
I think perseverance. There are always ups and downs in business, but planning is essential. Decide what your most important goals are and be laser focused on achieving them. I think watch the economy and pay very close attention to your finances and your cash flow, as this is what will help you get through tough times. And obviously with my background, I know that only way too well.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, Mariam, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Business Spotlight for this episode.
Thank you.
And for all of you watching us at the moment, stay tuned and watch out for the next episode. Many thanks.
Thank you.